Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. My 21 females, dad 48 male, started dating this woman, 29 female, amidst a pandemic in 2022. I took this about as well as you could expect. I admit I wasn't mature about it all, and it caused our relationship to be strained. I think my stepmom is a poor choice. Age, unemployment, gold digger vibes, etc. Naturally, she and I never had a good relationship. I've mostly just stayed clear of her when I visit. The main reason why our relationship soured was because of the following. I started college in 2021, and my dad paid for my first semester. I came home for the vacation and inquired about the second semester fees, and I got an ambiguous answer. I was taken aback because this was unexpected. I reminded him that he had an obligation to pay for my college. He got angry and said he had started a new life and doesn't want to be saddled with obligations of his former life. I fought because my mom also contributed to my college fund. She passed in 2015. But he said he gets the final say. I left after that, applied for a loan, started working, and 3 years later I'm in my final year. But it has been a struggle. I'm bitter, tired, and I have no social life whatsoever. In 2022, I heard my dad and the stepmom had a kid, my half-brother. They got married the same year. I wasn't invited to the wedding, unsurprisingly. I've had no contact with any of them since that day I left home. That was until yesterday. Yesterday he called to ask for $7,000. First call in 2 years, and he didn't even bother asking how I have been. Instead, straight up asked for money. He said he's divorcing stepmom because he found out she's been having an affair. The kid might not be his either. He said she wants to take half his stuff in the divorce plus is asking for a lot in alimony. I was like, okay, so what? He said he needs money to hire this famous attorney because he doesn't want to lose. I told him he's out of his mind. He wouldn't even pay for my college but wants my money. I'm living paycheck to paycheck and barely scraping by. I reminded him of this, and then he said I must have the scholarship money. I told him I didn't get the scholarship money and hung up. I feel so awful and so completely alone in this world. I lost my mom and it feels like I've lost my dad too, though he's physically still here. Any thoughts? Update. My uncle called, dad's younger brother. They're not close. He agrees with me that my dad has lost his mind. Turns out my dad asked money from him too and let it slip that he asked money from me. My uncle tore him to pieces. Anyways, the good news is that my uncle says he can send me $500 a month till I graduate so I can quit one of my jobs. I nearly cried with happiness. He's divorced and child-free. He and I never had a close relationship because dad wasn't close to him, but now he's interested in renewing his relationship with his only niece. I'm feeling hopeful for the first time in a long time. Your uncle is right, OP. Your dad has lost his mind, and this is not the first time he has. He first lost his mind when he decided to not be involved in your life anymore, because he has a new family now, and he would like to focus on his new family. When he decided to not use the college fund that he and your mom saved up for your college anymore, but to do God knows what, he had lost his mind then too. Your father is just getting his karma, and I hope he enjoys it. I'm sorry things are like this with your father, but don't expect anything more from him. Focus on yourself, and I hope things work out with your uncle. Story 2. I, 34 male, used to be in a relationship with Sarah, 35 female. We met in middle school, dated on and off in high school, and even talked about marriage in college. This all came to an end when I caught her cheating with my roommate and we broke up. It was really hard, but it got worse when I found out that she was pregnant. Immediately I sought her out and to confront the possibility of her baby being mine, and Sarah avoided me while sending her friends and new boyfriend Adam, guy she cheated with, after me to stop harassing her. I reached out to her mom explicitly stating that I only wished to know if there was a chance that I was the father, and after enough persistence, Sarah contacted me directly, called me pathetic, that I wasn't the father, and if I continued, she would call the police. Being a broke 19-year-old, I took her at her word and washed my hands of the situation and transferred to another college and moved on with my life. Eventually, I met my fiancée Miranda, 29 female, and we've been very happy together. Before the pandemic, we were supposed to get married, but understandably that got pushed back. Now that restrictions are loosening up, we're moving forward with the plans but have drastically cut down on the number of invites to abide by the venue safety policy. After completing the list and sending out the invitations, I was recently contacted by Kevin, 15 male, claiming to be my son. Obviously, I didn't take him at his word and asked who his mom was, and he said Sarah. I told him that before he was born, his mom assured me that I wasn't the father, and asked him why he thought I was. Kevin explained that it came out that Sarah's husband, Adam, wasn't his biological dad, divorced her, and hasn't spoken to Kevin in years. I agreed to take a paternity test and was shocked that I was his dad. I was pissed because I asked Sarah if there was any chance and she denied it. Miranda was surprised but also supportive, and I've been speaking to Kevin regularly while also making plans to see him. He saw on social media that Miranda and I were planning on getting married in the spring and wanted to come. Unfortunately, everyone that we've already invited has all RSVP'd and made special accommodations to attend our child-free wedding. There's no way Kevin can come without Miranda and I disinviting someone else, which we feel is rude. I told Kevin that while I can't invite him to the wedding, I promised to put together another event so he can meet more people in my family. He seemed understanding, but his maternal grandmother called me up to berate me for not making him a priority. Now that I'm aware of his existence, am I the a-hole? Edit. Because I keep seeing this, the venue has a policy on the number of people who can attend due to safety. This isn't about fire codes but COVID, not the fact that the wedding is child-free. Edit 2. Thank you to those suggesting that we explain the situation to our guests to see if anyone would be kind enough to allow Kevin to come instead. I will talk to Miranda about this, but also reach out to Kevin directly since, so far, only his grandmother is giving me a flag for not inviting him. Not the a-hole OP. This is all new to you and him. Obviously, it will take time for you to become more comfortable including him, first in family events. If anyone is to blame, it is the mother and grandmother. They both lied for years about the true relationship between you guys. Speak to him and make sure that he's truly okay with the situation. And only take his word for it, no one else. Block the grandmother and the mom if the child is old enough to contact you on his own, without needing a middleman. Best of luck with this new development. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. I would think a wedding would be a terrible event to try to talk and meet such an important person for the first time. Your time will be occupied by formalities, business, and family and guests, pulling you in 1,000 directions at once. Follow through on planning a far less high-stakes event for him to meet you and other family. His grandmother had the chance to be honest early on in the child's life. She can kindly F off and has no say. She chose to stay out of it then, and she can stay out of it now. I would try to see if there was a way you can squeeze him into the wedding. He would be the obvious exception to the no children policy and no one would care. You're not an a-hole and you're clearly trying to start a relationship with him. Weddings are for close family and friends, and it could be hard to include him since you just met him. You're not an a-hole, OP. You were lied to and the lie continued for 15 years. Aided and abetted by your ex, and most probably her crazy grandmother. A wedding is probably not the best time or place to meet him face to face. You'll be distracted, lots of people around, and you never know how your family will react to him. Please don't set him up to be fodder for the gossip. Meet him one-on-one after the wedding. Spend time getting to know him and vice versa. This is not a relationship that needs an audience. He must feel terribly conflicted, angry and sad. His father abandoned him. He divorced his mother, lied to him, and his father. For years, and he's got a crazy grandmother. Start slow and see how it goes, and don't let anyone tell you how to parent or build your relationship. That's up to you and your son. Best wishes for a long, happy marriage and a good relationship with your son. Story 3. So, my husband and I have a 13-year-old daughter. She plays piano and has participated in several plays in and outside of school. Now here's the thing. My husband invites his mom to every performance our daughter has. Not saying he shouldn't, but Many times she would put my daughter down and point out where she messed up and what she needed to work on. Hello, she's not even an expert in this. This happens every time. My daughter has picked up on these negative comments and her self-esteem kept getting low, and by extension, her performance kept getting low as well. I told my husband his mom needs to either stop putting our daughter down or stop coming to her place. He said his mom is the grandmother and should be included in these events as support. Our daughter had a performance this past Wednesday. I told my husband that his mom can sit this one out, but he said it was too late because he sent her a link of the date and location of the event. I sighed and said nothing. His mom arrived like 20 minutes later, sat next to him and kept pulling him close while whispering in his ear. I just rolled my eyes hard. Once the play was over and after we got a chance to see our daughter, who looked nervous and shaking, mother-in-law looked at her and said, "Let me just say that today's performance was disappointing." My daughter was in shock, and I was floored completely. My daughter started crying, then rushed away. Mother-in-law then casually said, "Oh, I have to go now. I have an appointment with the salon for Chloe's, her other granddaughter's, birthday party." I was fuming. I told her what she said to my daughter was not okay and that she made her upset. She said something along the lines of, "Just telling how it is," and then left. We went home and I lost it on my husband, telling him his mom just keeps putting our daughter down and it's not right. He said I'm being overdramatic and what his mom's doing is just constructive criticism. I told him from now on he needs to stop inviting her to our daughter's performances. He said I was being ridiculous and that I shouldn't expect his mom to be excluded from her granddaughter's life like that. We had a big argument, and now my daughter isn't even interested in playing anymore. My husband said I was way out of line and shouldn't use our daughter in my fight with his mom. He also called me controlling and vicious. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Since this took off and people are asking more questions, I'd like to add some context in bullet point form. 1. My mother-in-law and I don't talk due to past disagreements. 2. Mother-in-law is uncomfortable with the concept of playing piano and thinks that my daughter is wasting time and getting distracted with zero benefits since she and my husband wanted to become a doctor. My daughter doesn't want to become a doctor, but that's an argument for another time. 3. Mother-in-law thinks I'm wasting my husband's money because I enrolled my daughter in piano classes. Have been since she was 9. 4. My husband told me he will keep inviting his mom over and over and over again till I learn to stop using our daughter as a tool to fight his mom with. Believe me, I'm not. Now for some comments. Your husband and his mother are the sort of people who confuse cruelty with honesty. The meaner and more hurtful a statement is, the truer it is. People like this are not relationship material, and they are certainly not parent material. Since it's a little late to reverse course in your case, your best bet is to focus on figuring out whether or not your husband is willing and or able to do the work necessary to become a decent husband and parent, or if he's so entrenched in his mother's worldview that he's beyond salvation. Please take your daughter to therapy now and really work on her self-esteem. She won't want to do anything, including doing well in school, if this continues. She may believe that she isn't good at doing anything, including scholastics. Your daughter should be allowed to live her own dreams, not those of husband and mother-in-law. They both need to be on an information diet. Your husband is unbelievable and a terrible parent. Tell your husband he needs to take parenting classes and go to therapy. There is no help for mother-in-law. Remove your husband from receiving the information on your daughter's activities. He is the same as his mother. He doesn't see anything wrong because that was how he was raised. And I'm willing to bet her other granddaughter she was going to see is the daughter of your husband's golden child sibling. Next time your husband does anything, put a dish in the sink, go into the bathroom, get out of the car, tell him each time he's doing it wrong and a disappointment. But honestly, I would refuse to be in a marriage where my husband thinks nothing of how his daughter is treated. I would not want my daughter around that. And at 13, your kid is able to voice who she wants to be around, not the a-hole.